All right, Algebra 1, we are on to our last section of Chapter 7. So we took Part 1 of Chapter 7, and now this is the end of Part 2. This is systems of linear inequalities. So this whole chapter we've been talking about linear systems of equations, and this is not much different, okay? But what is different is that it's inequalities instead of equations. So looking at what a system of linear inequalities is, it's just two or more linear inequalities on the same graph, just like a system of equations. Okay, so going on from there, it's just a little different. Instead of just graphing a line, there's a little more stuff into it. Okay, so the solution to a system of linear inequalities is any and all points or ordered pairs that make both equations true, or inequalities true. Okay, and what that really means in our case is points in the shaded region. So we're going to see what that looks like here in a second. Okay, so when you're doing these, you're just graphing. Okay, and we've graphed inequalities before, so a couple things to keep in mind. So let's look at this first one. First of all, is it going to shade up or down? Okay. And is it going to be a dotted or solid line? So in this case, you want to keep both of those things in mind. Is this up or down? So that's greater than, so that's up. And it's going to be a dotted line. Okay, this one should be shading down and also a dotted line. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph. So first one, this one up top, I've got a y-intercept of -1 right there. And I'm going to go down 1 over 1. Since it's -1, it's going to be -1 over 1. Down 1 over 1. Down 1 over 1. And so my dotted line is looking that way. Okay. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. So there's my dotted line. Now, what I can't forget is that I need to shade. And since I'm shading up, I'm going to shade above the line. Okay, and there we go. So now I shade the other line, and I'm trying to figure out where do both of them shade. Okay, so in this case, it's -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5's right here. And it's going to be shading, or going up 1 over 1 for the slope. Okay. And so, yet again, I have a dotted line, and this time I'm shading downward, okay? So, what I want to make sure I'm paying attention to is I'm not going to shade downward the whole way. I want to shade downward where it's already shaded. So this would be pointless to shade. This, I'm shading downward there, and that is my solution. So, the solution to this problem is any point in that shaded region. So I could pick this point right here. Okay, any point that's in that shaded region would be a solution. So for example, I could say 2, 4, 6, 6, -2 would be an example of a solution. Now, if I just shade, that's enough. I don't have to provide a point. That's just an example of a point, okay? So let's look at the next one here. Okay, so once again, I'm looking at these and I'm saying, okay, it's going to shade downward, and it's going to be a dotted line. And then the second one's going to be a solid line. Oops, where are we shading first? Up, and it's going to be a solid line. Okay? So +7's up here. I'm going up 1 over 3. Well, I ran out of room. So let's go down 1, left 3 to keep it going. Okay, so again, that's a dotted line. And I'm shading downward. Okay, so down from there is pretty much the whole graph. Okay, so it's kind of fun. You get to color a little bit. All right. So the next one we've got positive 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. And this time it's a solid line. So once I get enough points, I'm going to go ahead and make a solid line going through those. And I should be shading up from there. So up, I don't need to pay attention over here. I'm shading up and where it already shaded. And there we go. So that region, that dark region, is my solution. Okay? So let's look at number 3 and 4, and then we'll be done. So number 3 and 4, we have to kind of solve for y first. So the first equation, I've got to subtract x first, get y by itself. So negative 4y less than or equal to 24 minus x. Actually, we're going to go minus x first. So negative x plus 24. Then I divide by negative 4. Now remember, when you divide by a negative, you got to flip the sign. So flip that around the other way. That's positive 1 over 4x minus 6. And so there's my first one. So negative 6 is here. And I'm going up 1 over 4. Up 1 over 4. And I can go down 1, left 4. And that is a solid line. And it should be shading up, since it ended up being greater than. Okay, so there's that. So, and when I shade, I'm going up, since it's greater than. There we go. And the other equation is already set for us. So positive 1 is here. And I'm going up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Down to left 1 if I want to get more points. This is also a solid line. Okay, so I can go ahead and draw my solid line going through those points. And it should be shading downward. So when you think down, I've got below the line. So this part, but I don't need to go into any of the other shaded region, the not shaded region. So that is my solution right there. So any point in that pink area would be my final answer. Okay, so our last one, I wanted to do number 4 because we have to solve for 1, but also one of them is just x equals. Well, if it's x equals, that means it goes through the x-axis. So I go to x is negative 4. So negative 4 is right here on the x-axis, and it should be going through that. So it's going to be a vertical line. Okay, and notice I've got a dotted vertical line because this is not underlined. So that's a dotted line, and it should be shading down. Okay, now I can't shade down. So when you think negative 4 for x, less than negative 4 would be left. Okay, that's the only time you go left or right. Okay, is when it's a vertical line. Okay, so there's that shaded region, and now we go ahead and find out what the other one is. But we gotta solve it first, so I gotta get y by itself. So I've got 2y less than or equal to negative 3x minus 2. Divide both by 2. I get y less than or equal to negative 3 over 2x minus 1. Now I'm ready to graph. So negative 1, down 3, since it's negative, right 2. Down 3, right 2. Up 3, left 2, if I want some more points. Up 3, left 2. Up 3, left 2. And so we're going solid line, since it's underlined, and it's going down. So There we go. And I'm going to go downward from there. And so really the only part of the green that I'm not including is that top left corner there. Excuse me. And so that's systems. So as you can see, look at all our graphs. Our solutions would be this shaded region here, this shaded region here, this shaded region here, and this shaded region here. Okay, so it should be obvious on your paper which one is the shaded region for both. It's going to be darker than the rest of it. Okay, so you're getting a worksheet in class, and if you have questions, be sure to ask. Peace.